Dallas Cowboys fans woke up to real movement inside the building. And this time is not noise, not hype, but actual structure taking shape on the defensive side of the ball. The organization officially added 2 new defensive coaches, and the significance of these hires goes way beyond job titles. There's a clear direction forming, and it starts with how this staff is being built, who is being trusted, and what kind of football identity is being targeted moving forward. The Cowboys brought in Marcus Dixon to lead the defensive line and added Chad Usuzo-Drebe as the outside linebackers coach, a move that instantly caught attention across the league. Both arrive with strong developmental backgrounds and reputations tied to teaching technique, accountability, and aggressive play. This is not about chasing big names or recycling familiar faces. It is about reshaping how this defense works from the ground up, especially in the trenches and on the edge. What stands out immediately is the youth movement happening across the defensive staff. This is not a coincidence. The Cowboys are clearly leaning into modern football thinking, prioritizing teachers who connect with players, understand today's game, and bring energy into the room. The defensive coordinator at the center of this shift is still early in his career, yet already carries the respect of players who have worked under him. When former players describe a coach as a football genius, detail-oriented, and constantly seeking player input, that tells you everything about the collaborative environment being built. This defensive coordinator is not interested in rigid systems or outdated hierarchies. He listens. He adjusts. He wants players to understand why they're doing something, not just follow instructions. That approach matters, especially in today's NFL, where defenses must adapt weekly to complex offenses and fast-paced schemes. The Cowboys are signaling that adaptability and communication will be non-negotiable moving forward. The rest of the staff reflects that same philosophy. From the defensive pass game coordinator to the secondary coach, and now the defensive line and outside linebackers coaches, the average age is noticeably lower than what fans are used to seeing. That does not mean inexperience. It means hunger, growth mindset, and coaches who are still evolving alongside the game. This is about building a long-term defensive infrastructure, not a short-term patch. Chad Usuzo-Drebe, in particular, arrives with a reputation as one of the rising defensive minds from the college level. His work under a top collegiate program demanded excellence, discipline, and relentless effort. Before that, he spent time developing players in Texas, and his familiarity with the region and the football culture matters. Coaches who understand the environment they are stepping into tend to connect faster and command respect quicker. Former players who worked under him consistently describe the same traits. He is intense, demanding, and deeply invested in technique. Practices under him were not about getting through reps. They were about finishing every rep correctly. If something was not done right, it was repeated until it met the standard. That mindset translates directly to defensive football in the NFL, where one missed hand placement or one lazy step can change an entire game. Technique is a major emphasis in his coaching style, especially when it comes to hand usage, leverage, and winning the first contact. Defensive players under his guidance are taught to attack with purpose, not just speed. That kind of detail work is exactly what separates average pass rushers from consistent disruptors. When fans talk about wanting more pressure, more chaos, and more physicality, this is how it starts. Beyond the X's and O's, culture is where his impact may be felt the most. Players describe him as a coach who holds everyone accountable, regardless of position or status. Effort is not optional. Focus is not optional. If the standard slips, the entire group resets and goes again. That creates unity and trust, especially in the trenches where defensive linemen and linebackers must operate as one unit. Marcus Dixon's addition reinforces that same identity. Coming from a system known for developing defensive linemen, he brings a clear understanding of how to maximize physical traits while refining fundamentals. This is not about freelancing or individual stats. It is about coordinated pressure, disciplined gaps, and playing with controlled aggression. Pairing his approach with the outside linebacker coaching creates continuity across the front seven, something the Cowboys have lacked at times. What makes this stretch of hires even more intriguing is how different it feels from past cycles. For years, the organization leaned toward comfort, familiarity, and repetition, often expecting different results from the same process. This time, the search was broader, more deliberate, and more aggressive. Multiple interviews, varied backgrounds, and an openness to change suggest that the front office recognized the need to break patterns. Fans have been asking for evolution, not just tweaks, and this looks like a genuine attempt to answer that call. The defensive staff being assembled does not feel random. It feels aligned. There's a shared language, a shared emphasis on development, and a shared belief in accountability. That does not guarantee success, but it does create a foundation where improvement is realistic. This shift also reflects a deeper understanding of how modern teams are built. Coaching staffs are no longer just supervisors. They are teachers, communicators, and culture builders. Players respond differently when they feel invested in, challenged, and respected. The Cowboys are betting that this new wave of coaches can unlock consistency, especially when it matters most. The early feedback surrounding these hires has been overwhelmingly positive, not because of hype, but because of credibility. When former players speak openly about how a coach changed their approach, sharpened their technique, and raised expectations, that carries weight. Those experiences shape how players buy in when they arrive at the next level. All signs point to a defense that wants to be faster, smarter, and more connected. This is about modernizing the Cowboys' identity on that side of the ball, stripping away complacency and demanding growth. The pieces are being put in place quietly, methodically, and with intention, setting the stage for a defense that looks very different from what fans have seen in recent years. Beyond the names and titles, what makes this new defensive structure so fascinating is how it directly impacts player development and on-field execution. When a team brings in coaches like Marcus Dixon and Chad Usuzo-Drebe, it's not just about the plays on Sunday. It's about every practice rep, every technique drill, and every mental adjustment that players are asked to make. The level of detail these coaches bring to the table means that every individual has a chance to refine their craft, and that refinement compounds over the course of season. Chad Usuzo-Drebe's approach, in particular, is rooted in accountability and culture building. Players describe him as someone who demands excellence, but does so with clarity and purpose. There's no ambiguity in his expectations. Every rep, every position drill, every step on the field has a purpose, and he makes sure the players understand why. That sort of discipline translates into resilience and confidence when the games get tight. It is a level of coaching that teaches players not just what to do, but how to think and react under pressure. At SMU, his track record speaks volumes. He developed pass rushers who dominated statistically and technically, turning under-recruited talent into top-level performers. When transitioning to the NFL, those same principles apply. Technique, leverage, hand placement, and footwork become non-negotiables. Players under his guidance are expected to execute cleanly, consistently, and aggressively. That attention to detail is exactly what turns potential into results, and the Cowboys appear ready to embrace that philosophy across the front seven. Marcus Dixon, meanwhile, is reinforcing the same standard but from a slightly different angle. Known for his work with defensive linemen, he emphasizes controlled aggression and the mastery of fundamentals. Under Dixon, linemen are expected to win the battle at the line of scrimmage, maintain gap integrity, and execute assignments with precision. This combination of skill development and structural discipline ensures that the defensive line not only pressures quarterbacks, but also creates consistent disruption throughout a game. The synergy between these coaches is what makes the current staff so compelling. When linebackers, defensive ends, and linemen are all being developed with the same language and philosophy, there is less friction on the field and more cohesive execution. Every player knows the expectations and the techniques required to succeed. When coaching alignment is tight, it allows players to trust each other and perform instinctively rather than second-guessing responsibilities. That trust is essential for a defense that wants to be both aggressive and fundamentally sound. Another layer to consider is the emphasis on youth and modern thinking. The average age of this defensive staff is significantly lower than in previous years, and that comes with advantages. These are coaches who grew up in an era of film study, analytics, and rapid adaptation. They understand how offenses operate in today's NFL and can teach players to recognize and counter schemes in real time. The result is a defensive unit that is smarter, faster, and more prepared to adjust on the fly, which is crucial against dynamic offenses week after week. Former players who worked with Derebe describe a culture shift wherever he goes. He does not tolerate mediocrity, and he instills a mindset that every player is accountable to the group. This type of cultural foundation is essential in the NFL, where cohesion and discipline are often the difference between winning and losing close games. For a franchise like the Cowboys, which has historically struggled to maintain consistency on defense, this is the kind of approach that can change the trajectory of a season. Beyond the technical and cultural impact, these hires reflect a broader strategic philosophy by the front office. For years, the organization relied on comfort and familiarity, often bringing in coaches that were known quantities rather than rising stars. This year, the strategy has shifted. The team conducted multiple interviews, scouted a variety of backgrounds, and pursued coaches who could bring innovation, energy, and a player-centric mindset. That change signals a willingness to evolve and a recognition that previous methods had reached their limits. The feedback from the coaching interviews and player insights suggests that the Cowboys are entering a period of transformation. It is not just about new names on the roster or the sidelines. It is about changing how the team practices, communicates, and executes. The emphasis on detail, technique, and accountability will likely have ripple effects throughout the organization, influencing both young talent and veteran leaders. When everyone buys into the system, the results are amplified on the field. Players like Tay Brooks, who experienced D. Reeves coaching firsthand, highlight the kind of environment being created. Reps are not just completed, they are perfected. Mistakes are not ignored. They are corrected with precision. Success is not measured solely in statistics, but in consistent improvement and readiness to execute at the highest level. This developmental focus will be particularly important for the Cowboys' defensive front, where small technical improvements can have huge impacts in disrupting opposing offenses. Fans can expect to see a more aggressive, more disciplined, and more adaptable defense take shape in Dallas. The groundwork being laid by Dixon and Derebe, in conjunction with the rest of the young staff, suggests a team committed to modernization. It is a system that rewards effort, attention to detail, and mental engagement. Players are expected to show up ready to learn, compete, and elevate the group as a whole. That type of environment often breeds standout performers who exceed expectations. The implications extend beyond just one season. By prioritizing coaches who are teachers, culture builders, and innovative thinkers, the Cowboys are setting themselves up for sustained growth. Young players will develop under guidance that emphasizes fundamentals, technique, and accountability. Veterans will be challenged to adapt and maintain standards. Over time, the defensive unit should become a model of consistency and resilience, capable of adjusting to any opponent and maintaining performance under pressure. In the larger context of the NFL, these hires demonstrate a shift in team-building philosophy. The Cowboys are embracing modern coaching methods, focusing on youth, energy, and progressive thinking. This is a departure from relying solely on reputation or prior NFL experience. Instead, the emphasis is on who can teach, who can adapt, and who can instill a winning mindset in players. That approach is increasingly necessary in a league where preparation, strategy, and mental toughness are just as important as physical talent. But before we continue, don't forget to subscribe to our channel and give this video a like. Your support helps us keep bringing you the latest updates on the Dallas Cowboys. Feel free to share your thoughts on the news in the comments as well. Whispers around the league suggest that the Dallas Cowboys may be on the verge of pulling off one of the most intriguing defensive moves of the season. According to sources close to the situation, the franchise is positioning itself to secure Chase Young, a name that still carries the aura of dominance and untapped potential. While nothing has been formally announced, the mere possibility has already sent a ripple of excitement through fans and concern through opposing coaching staffs. The idea of Young in a Cowboys uniform feels almost too dramatic to ignore. Once viewed as a generational pass rusher, his combination of size, speed, and raw power has always made offensive linemen uneasy, even during stretches where injuries or inconsistency slowed his momentum. The threat he represents never truly disappeared. Dallas, known for betting on high-upside talent, appears to see Young as the missing piece that could elevate an already aggressive defensive front into something truly feared. Insiders speculate that the Cowboys coaching staff believes a change of scenery and a system tailored to his strengths could reignite the explosiveness that once made Young a constant headline. Surrounded by other impact defenders and placed in a scheme that encourages relentless pressure, he could thrive without carrying the entire burden alone. This potential move is being framed not just as a roster addition, but as a statement of intent. From the Cowboys' perspective, adding a player of Young's profile would signal an all-in approach. The franchise has long embraced star power, and the narrative of turning a former top prospect into a dominant force again fits perfectly with its larger-than-life identity. Around the league, offensive coordinators are already imagined revisiting their protection schemes, just in case the rumors solidify into reality. For now, it remains speculation, fueled by quiet conversations and strategic silence. Yet in a league where perception often shapes reality, the mere association of Chase Young with Dallas has already changed the tone of discussions. If this rumor becomes truth, the Cowboys' defensive line may soon have a new name that offensive lines learn to fear. That's it for this update. If you enjoyed the video and want to keep receiving exclusive news about the Dallas Cowboys, please subscribe to our channel and give this video a like. We always look forward to your comments and opinions. See you in the next video.